Hello, everyone. We are going to talk a little bit today about a new topic that's not math related, but instead we're going to talk about English, at least language arts and how to write. So today's discussion, because English is split up, well, in the BC curriculum, they don't really have a specific order or anything specific that they really look for. Rather, they try to emphasize teaching you these sort of things chunk by chunk. But today we're going to talk about figures of speech. So there's four figures of speech that I think we should discuss about. The first one is a simile. Simile. Second one is a metaphor. Oh, this Sharpie is running dry. It's a new one. Metaphor. Third one is personification. And the fourth one is a hyperbole. So today I'm going to just break down what each and every one of these technically kind of mean. So a simile is when you essentially have a comparison of two unlike things using the words like or as. So I'm going to just highlight this first. Like or as. So one example is saying her smile was, you can say her smile was as bright as a sun. In doing so, you're comparing her smile can't be literally as bright as a sun, but by comparing these two things that aren't equivalent to each other, you essentially create a comparison. And this way you're creating sort of imagery by making this direct comparison. So another thing is saying maybe his teeth glisten like diamonds, or saying the table is hard as a brick or something of the sort. You can use, or saying his muscles were as hard as stone or chiseled as marble or whatnot. Or there's just a lot of examples you can think of, but the main idea is that it's separated by these two words like and as. So I'm going to just write the example that I brought up in the beginning. Uh, her smile was as bright as the sun. All right, so the second figure of speech we're going to talk about is a metaphor. Similar to a simile, we're making a direct comparison between two things that are not like one another, but this time we're not using the terms like or as. So one example of what when we might use a metaphor is saying something like time is a thief. So first, let's just understand that might we say time is a thief? Well, we can say that time is taking away some of our pleasant experiences in life. Time is maybe cunning, it might be fast, but the idea is obviously time is not literally a thief, but by comparing these two unlike things, we create the sort of imagery that we find. We can also say something as like you can think of your own, but you can say the teeth are diamonds, or what's it called? Mm, the marbles. Okay, well that's more personification. You can also say something, for example, her voice was music to her ears. Or the most famous one is by William Shakespeare, saying, "The world is a stage." Now, this idea of the world being a stage, it's not literal, just as a sense of saying time is a thief, it's not literal, but it's a sense that we're communicating this sort of imagery. Now, this is probably metaphors are something that's very often seen in poetry and a lot of fiction, so this is something to definitely keep in mind of. Personification is easier. Personification is basically giving human-like characters to non-human objects, animals, or ideas. So it's like saying, you can first say something like, for a non-object, we can say the wind was sighing sadly, or the wind is whistling. So I'm just gonna say wind was, or whispering. Let's say that. Since the wind can't literally whisper, but it's giving a sound that sounds like whisper, and it's moving maybe at a pace that's similar to a whisper. Now, another idea is a dog crying, but although a dog might be able to cry, but you can say the dog is dancing. A dog that's dancing. It's it's a bit difficult to identify personification when it comes to animals, since generally in animals we tend to normally attribute human characters to them already, but it would be on a strict definition an idea of personification. Lastly, a hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration used for emphasis or humor on a topic. An idea is saying, I told you something a million times. Let's just say, told you a million times. Now, this is something, hyperbole is something you might hear a lot these days, or when you're arguing with someone, or when you might be trying to exaggerate what you're trying to say, saying this guy is slow as a turtle, or something like that. These are all examples of hyperbole. And yeah, now the thing I want you to make clear is that similes and metaphors, well, all these sort of figurative devices can add up to each other. For example, saying that this turtle is as slow as a rock, well, it's a simile to begin with, and it's also a hyperbole because it can't be slow as a rock, but we're saying it in an extreme sense. At the same time, you can also argue that's metaphor and personification as well. The idea is you should probably have the skills required to identify these four figures of devices and understand them. Thank you for watching.